Hi, my name is Ken. I'm from the Moneymakers Academy. Welcome to Business Planning Deep Dive. Getting your business plan reviewed lets you share and discuss your options and plans with an expert. They can provide the pluses and minuses of each of your choices, helping you to evaluate your decisions objectively once you've taken their recommendations on board, and you can come to an informed decision. And on this course, my main objectives for you is to raise money for your business, to make sound decisions, to help you identify any potential weaknesses in your company, also to communicate with your ideas with your future stakeholders. Now, I want to share my experience to you. About 4 years ago, I created the simplest business plan ever. This document right here, or this course right here, over the last 4 years, it's being downloaded by literally thousands of people, demonstrating how simple it can be to create a solid strategic plan for your business. I've also created several videos in which I broke down the entire plan. Most of these videos were around 20 minutes long, and you know what? They are extremely well received up until this point. So on this course, you will learn entirely on how to make business planning. Now I want you to prepare your pens and notebooks because this will be a very interactive course for you. So what do you expect to learn? Here on our course outline, we will be teaching you some business overview, business naming, how to chart off an accountability, also to marketing messages. Also we'll discuss whom does your enterprise serve, and then we'll teach you on how to get more subscribers. Also we'll tackle on how to start marketing messages, and then target marketing demographics, also different ways to make your brand visible. We'll also tackle on companies' products, as well as business systems and delivery system. Also for business production system, how to start delivery system. Also for business plan, 1-year goal, and lastly for your profit on 5-year goal. Are you excited? Because I am. Now, let's head on to the business overview. Business overview. In this section, we're going to cover topics such as your organization's name, legal structure, a short description of what you're doing, your company's objective, and the location from where you can conduct the business. Business name. Clearly, you're going to write down the name of your company on this line. You may already know what the name will be, but if not, this may require you some serious thought. You can use your own name, a descriptive name that explains what your company does, or a proprietary name. You might give your business a proprietary name. This is a name that is specific to you and your firm. It is more akin to a given name. Several examples would include Amazon, Google, and Canon from the camera company. Finally, another option for your business name is, now this is one of my personal favorite, is to take a hybrid approach in which your name is both proprietary and descriptive. Examples would include Aspen Landscape, Startup Society, or Veritas Web Designs. I like this option because it includes something unique and memorable that distinguishes your brand from the competition, allowing you to build your brand and your company more easily. But it also includes a descriptive section that can go a long way toward informing prospective customers or how you can help them and pique their initial interest in your businesses when they see that it is exactly what they're looking for. I understand that you may be hesitant to use your physical home address as your business address. However, the government does typically require that you have a physical address from which you conduct business for tax reporting purposes. Now, this is the address you'll need to use when filing your business registration. The second type of address you'll require is a mailing address, which is ideal if you're operating your business from home and don't want to publish your home address on the internet for the public to find. And then instead, you can obtain a post office box as your mailing address. The third type of address you may require is a physical address. Now write this down. This is where your customers can visit you. If you're operating a local business, this should be a physical address. But if you're operating an online business, I understand that you may believe that this is the most difficult portion because you are unfamiliar with legal businesses structures. However, this is not the case. I believe that Once you understand your various options, you'll discover that this is actually quite simple. So what are your options here? Well, you could be a solo proprietorship, which means you're doing business as yourself. You could be a partnership, you could be an LLC, or you can consider as being a corporation. The first thing to consider is whether you'll be the sole owner of your business or whether you will have partners. If you have partners, you will need what is commonly referred to as partnership, but it is technically a limited liability company or the LLC. Each of the different owners of your business will be considered a member of your limited liability company, which is a quick but critical note here is that I am not a lawyer or an attorney, and in this course, I do not intend to provide any legal advice, but this course is an informational reasons only, and I strongly advise you to conduct your own research and consult with a legal advice if it is required. If you are self-employed or you have a few distinct possibilities, you can operate your business as a sole proprietorship, which means that if you use your own name, you do not need to register your business as a legal entity. You are your business. However, if you use a name other than your own, such as made-up business name, you will need to register that business name in order to legally conduct business under that name. This enterprise planning, the Startup Society sponsors the Deep Dive series. If you're looking for proven strategies to grow your online business, Startup Society is the place for you. At Startup Society, we provide you with a library of detailed action plans, each with specific action steps that will guide you through the process of growing your online business to the point where it can become your full-time job. Start by making a brief description. In this section, you'll see that the plan is a brief description of what your company does. Now, for some of you, this may seem self-evident and you already know exactly what your company does. However, even if you are in that camp and you already know what company you're starting and what it's going to do, I have a few thoughts to share with you here that can help you make this company description a much stronger foundation upon which to build your business. First is, what is your company's mission? Why is your company here? What are you striving to accomplish? Well, I'm sure some of you who are watching this right now has a firm grasp on some massive mission you want to accomplish or just something you're extremely passionate about. But I'm guessing the majority of you look at that and think, oh, I should probably have a mission, shouldn't I? But I'm really not sure what it is. However, I believe that your mission can actually be not a compulsory, but it is a very good thing to have a clear goal since it's making achieving it and rallying your future team simpler. However, for now, I want you to focus on what your firm is attempting to accomplish and how it is trying to improve the world. Chart of accountability. The final item on the first of this business plan is the chart of accountability, which is what you see down below at the bottom. This is exactly a map that describes who is accountable for what and to whom. This chart of accountability will be extremely simple. In fact, you'll probably write your own name in each of these different ideas of responsibility. However, the best result, I'd recommend that you take a step back and consider what the different divisions of your business will be. What are the major functions that your business needs to have and perform in order to be a successful business? Probably, you'll need to have a part of your company in each of these areas. The first section of your business plan isn't very long. It's less than one page. However, it will require some of thought, and I understand that you may be tempted to skip it after watching this course and seeing everything that goes into and realizing that you may not already have all the answers. However, answering these questions is critical because if you don't know the answers to these questions, it means that you're still in the early stages of your business. Marketing messages. This is the second part of our deep dive into company planning. This section of the plan covers your marketing messages, so we are going to work on developing some marketing messages that explain what your company does in a really clear and persuasive way so that people want to work with you and would want to buy your products and you can easily turn your business into a success. In this part of the plan, you're going to get a crystal clear on exactly what you're providing to customers, what the true value of that is for them, and what the problem you're solving for them. Answering these questions is critical because it will help you understand how to communicate what your company does and what your product does for your customers in a way that encourages people to purchase the product in order to receive the value, and that explains why they should choose you to assist them in solving their problem. With that said, let's get started in this very part of this section of messaging section of your business plan. What issue does your business resolve for its customers? Almost every business solves a problem for their customers. Their product solves some sort of problem for those customers. If you're a virtual assistant, then, for example, your clients will be and online business owners who are overwhelmed with too much to do. The problem that you're solving for them is that they don't have enough time to do everything on their own. The next question you need to answer is that what results do you create for your customers, or will you create for your customers when you start your business? This goes hand in hand with the problem you're solving because you're solving a problem for them and creating a result by somehow improving their lives. So what exactly is that result? Keep in mind that this is not the product you're selling. The result is that they now have an easy, convenient, healthy breakfast option that they can feel good about. If you're not sure what effect your product has on your customers, consider what their lives will be like before and after your product. Where are they now, and where will they be after using your or owning your product? Try to think beyond the obvious. For example, instead of simply thinking that after they purchase my blender, they'll be able to, how does your company generate the result? What does your customer need to do to obtain the result? What does your company do to generate that result for the customer? Answering this question does not have to be difficult. You simply need to tell it like it is. Keep it simple. Keep it clear. This is the power of this. When people understand your success, they will trust it. Whom does your enterprise serve? By answering the previous questions, you've gained a better understanding of your target customer. You've considered the problem they're facing, the outcome they're seeking, and the means by which you're going to assist them in achieving that outcome. As a result, it should be fairly simple for you to answer the next question. Who is that customer? Who does your business serve? Therefore, in this part of marketing message in part 2 of the business plan, you get to be a little bit more specific and some additional details about your target customer. You do not have to be completely flesh out every detail about your target customer, but it is a good idea to include some. Several of the key details that differentiate this individual from the rest of the populace. For example, perhaps the majority of your customers will be over a certain age or under a certain age. Perhaps they will predominantly be one gender or another. Perhaps they will predominantly live in one country or another. Or perhaps they will have a similar background. Whatever those details are, that is what I want you to write down right here. Now write them on your notes. Why should your customers choose you over your competition? I know a lot of people hear this question and think, I don't know, maybe they should just choose my competition. I know this is exactly how I felt when I started my business. I felt like I couldn't provide the services or sell products I was selling any better than my competition, and in fact, their products were likely better. Now here's the simplest way to determine how to differentiate yourself from your competition. Consider what current problem exists in your industry or what current problem someone might face if they attempted to solve the problem you helped people solve. For instance, suppose you teach parents how to overcome pickiness in their child's eating. At first, consider the problems with their system. Perhaps their system takes too much time. Perhaps they encourage negative behaviors. Perhaps they fail to produce the desired result. Perhaps they force parents to do things they do not want to do. Or for an example, suppose you are a wedding photographer. What are some of the issues that brides occasionally have with wedding photographers? Perhaps they are too expensive. Deliver the result that the customer is truly seeking. Alternatively, consider the 3 or so steps that your customers must take with your product in order to obtain the result they're seeking. Consider the process should look like. what is the first thing someone needs to do? It could be as simple as purchasing the product, signing up for our services, or completing a simple questionnaire. What is the second step? Now, if you're selling an online course or how to increase traffic to your blog, for an example, you might walk them through the 3 primary steps necessary to increase their traffic blog. When the people see the system and understand how it works, they'll trust the system. As I mentioned previously, when you explain the system, you're not going to tell them every little nuance of how to do it. Marketing messages. This is the point at which things begin to get real, and you begin to develop some action items and tasks for your running your business. So keep watching to learn exactly what goes into a strategic marketing plan and how you can write one for yourself. Now, obviously, this is a critical section of your business plan because this is where you determine how you're going to spread the word about your business and how you're going to tell people about your product so that you can start making sales and making money. Target market demographics. The first element of your strategic marketing strategy will be your target market demographics. Therefore, if you've been following along with the series and watched the previous episode, then congratulations, you're already way ahead of your game. You probably have this figured out to a large extent that you work on clarifying who your target customer is and to whom you are marketing your products. But now, you're going to get a little bit more granular and break things down a little bit more. So, you're going to break down your demographics first and then your psychographics in the second section right here. So, what demographics really matter? So that it is the ideal product for a specific group of people and also your marketing messages. Because that is what we're going to discuss right now. You need to have marketing messages that really speak to one specific group of people. I know it's tempting to try to appeal as many different people as possible with your product, but here's the big problem with that. When you do that, you dilute your messaging because the percentage of people who buy from that large pool of people will be extremely low, and you'll have a much easier time marketing your product if you focus exclusively on one specific group because you'll have a large percentage of people who buy and love your product. They'll start talking to one another and gushing about how much they love your product, which will generate some momentum where they discover other people who loves your product as well. So therefore, once you determine your demographics, you'll go on to the following area, which is psychographics. Psychographics, on the other hand, are not the nuts and bolts. The facts about people are secondary to their desires. Who are these people? What are their actual desires? What are their true needs? What are their struggles? Therefore, allow me to provide you with several distinct examples of psychographics. The first and most important one is to determine what your target customers desire above all else. This is especially true when it comes to the area of their life that your product relates to. For example, if you are selling virtual assistant services, this would pertain to their business specifically. Now, what is their primary goal for their business, and how can your service assist them in accomplishing that goal? However, that is a little bit beyond the scope. So that primary goal for their business that all of your target customers will share may be that they all want to increase their revenue and reduce their working hours. Other critical psychographics may include certain fears that all of your target customers share, which you can help them avoid. Or it may be motivations for why they want that goal that they all share now. Now keep in mind, however, that your target customers will not share all of these characteristics. I just want you to figure out a minimum amount that you know there are at least this many people in your target market. It's going to be an underestimate, but that's fantastic because it means you're playing it safe and there will be more potential customers than you've identified, which means your business will be able to grow even further than you're estimating. You could also search for brands on Instagram that are essentially your rival and check how many people follow those brands. This is another extremely simple approach to accomplish this, and along similar lines, you could identify brands, or even if it's just people discussing similar topics on YouTube. you can see how many people are watching those videos. Where can your target market be found? When you answer the previous question about how many people were in your target market, you probably found them here and there and a few other places. And so, you can simply list those locations where you found these people, perhaps in Facebook groups or by following certain people on Instagram. Or would you ask a friend? Would you log on to YouTube and search for a video to teach you about that thing? Would you head over to Instagram and search for a hashtag? Or perhaps you look for a Facebook group? I want you to consider your own behavior because it enables you to think about where your potential customers might be hanging out, because most likely the majority of the people will behave similarly. Now, in the next section is the visibility strategy, which sometimes referred to as brand awareness. Essentially, this is how you're going to spread the word about your brand and introduce people to your products. Different ways to make your brand visible. Let's discuss a few different ways you can become visible as a brand and introduce people to your products. Tactics for increased visibility. There are undoubtedly many more, but I want to provide you with a few examples to get started. An example would be Google SEO is short for Search Engine Optimization, which means getting your website to rank on Google is one of the most common ways to drive traffic to your website and increase brand visibility. Another great option is paid advertising, which isn't for everyone, especially if you're starting your business on a shoestring budget, but it is a very common one. You can pay for ads on Google, Facebook, or a variety of other places to increase brand visibility and then finagle it. The second to final section of your marketing plan is your lead generation strategy. This is the method you'll employ to convert the traffic and visibility you're producing into leads. You're going to identify specific individuals who are interested in your product and begin communicating with them. They're going to give you their contact information because they're interested in learning more about your product, and you're going to follow up with them to inform them further and gradually lead them closer and closer to being ready to purchase your product. The most frequent lead generation approach used by online businesses and even many online firms is to include an opt-in form on their website. This is a very small form that allows customers to submit their name and email address to sign up for an email newsletter. It might be a sign up for an email newsletter or a sign up for a specific free resource related to your product, or it could be just a sign up. Now, you could also take up this step further and have a longer form for people to fill out in order to make an inquiry, sign up for a free consultation, or apply for a quote. And finally, but certainly not least, you've got your conversion strategy. Your conversion strategy is the method you're going to use to close the sale. To begin, you must have a call to action asking people to purchase your product. This can be accomplished by including a buy now button on your website, by sending an email asking people to purchase your product immediately and including a link to do so, or by including additional information on your website about how to purchase your product. Available purchase and instructions on how to acquire it is the second component of your conversion strategy. It's also the physical process by which customers to check out. For example, you may need to configure an online shopping cart, or if you're running a brick and mortar business, you may opt for a physical cash register or a method for a customers to swipe their card using something like a Square card reader that works with their phone. As you can see, this third component of your business plan is quite important. So your marketing plan is a critical component of your business plan. It is critical to transforming your business into a success because without a strategy for informing people about your products, informing them more about your products, assisting them in determining whether or not your products are a good fit for them, and finally, closing that sale, your business will never make any money and will never become a successful business. Business and your accountability chart, this is, among other things, the groundwork for your company plan. Now, I'll also explain how to write promotional messages. This is also critical because it is how you plan to communicate to prospective customers what your company does and the value of your product. And your marketing strategies, which we discussed in today's video, will not work unless you have a solid marketing messages. So if you haven't already watched those part, make sure to revisit the previous episodes of this. Company's products. We're going to look at the fourth section of your business plan. This part of the business plan is entirely dedicated to your company's products. For some of you, this will be the simplest component of the strategy, as it may be something you already extremely passionate about. You may know exactly what your company sells and human all the details of the different products that use that for others that have you. This may be a little bit more complicated because I made you sell several studies have employed work out all the details of the product. So we're going to walk through this section of the plan today. If you have 6 goods, you will not require these pages. However, if you have additional products, you may need to print a few additional pages in this part. The questions and response for this component of the business plan is what exactly does to your business accomplishment. When it comes to the number of products your business sells is actually lesser. In the early stages of running my online business, I wanted to sell as many different products as possible. And I reasoned that the more products I sold, the more diverse customers I'd be able to work with. And thus, the more diverse customers I'd be able to attract and possibly even convert. Perhaps some clients will purchase one service and then they want to purchase another because I do so many things. So many different. It wasn't long before I realized that this approach wasn't shooting me in the foot by dividing myself not as an expert in any one thing. I'm not meant to get a very few for all the industry at all. I was on my way to drastically cutting down the table when I put expert in front of expert, and right now it's fine. The only thing that your company will be selling will be the primary product and the main thing that it sells. If you can, I want you to think about cutting down your product line to just a few fried eggs. If you can, I want you to make sure that you choose the primary product, the main thing that you want to sell. Now, how do you move forward? In this part, the most important decision you have to make is about what kind of business you want to start. If this isn't done well, it's almost going to have to be done well. The first 3 blanks are for information about the main thing your business sells, as for which product should be your main product. Now, how do you figure that one out? Here are a few things to think about when you think about your main goal is for your customers. It was in the early stages of my business when I planned to run as many different digital marketing agencies as possible, trying to offer as many different digital marketing services as possible. I made websites, Facebook ads, Google ads, and blog posts, as well as other things. There was, however, one main goal I wanted to achieve for my customers. I wanted to help them market their business in Iran. As a result, I was able to figure out what my main product should be. What was that one thing that would help them get our sales more than anything else? The best thing you can do for yourself, your customers, and your business is to find out what the best product is for you, what the best result is for your customers, and what the best product is for your business. If you go out and look for the answers, you need to ask your customers what they want from you, or ask mentors what they think you should sell. Now, this can be a top station for you, and this is a decision that you have to make. If your products make people so bored, I want you to write down why that is. I want you to be very excited about this. Make sure you take the time to write out a business plan and finish it if you want to use this claim for your business and make it even better. Business system and delivery system. In this section, in which you will describe how manufacture the things you offer and how you transport them to your clients. For some people, this section will be easy because they have extremely simple processes for manufacturing and delivering their products. For others, this section will be challenging because they have extremely complicated systems that need to be simplified. Either way, you're going to find writing this section of your business plan extremely simple. Writing them down can help you to improve your efficiency. On the other side, ecosystems are far too complicated to document, but the system can assist you in determining how to optimize them to be more efficient, requiring less resources and making running your organizations even easier. Business's production system. Let's begin by focusing on your business production system. As I previously stated, your business's production system is how it generates the things it sells. So let me give you a couple of examples of how a production system might look in a business. Let's start with my own. My business produces online courses and other digital training. And in order to create these products, I first have to decide what products we're going to create. Then, I have to outline the actual content of these lessons. And finally, I typically film these lessons. I may simply speak to the camera or I may create so much more. And then, in its own delivery, which we'll discuss in a few moments, we look at a business with a different model. Let's take a seller on an Etsy who sells beadwear or clothing that they net. Here's what their process might look like. First, they need to decide what products they're going to create. What piece of clothing are they going to meet on fade? Therefore, how does your business production system look and what are you making and how is it created? Do you perform all aspects of the task yourself or do you assign any of the various process to other contractors or workers in your company? To finish the production system of the processes in this portion of the business plan, you must define the many stages necessary to make your product. Delivery system. The second section of the business plan is the delivery system. In this section, we're going to describe how your business delivers products to customers. For example, do you need to package them and mail them, or do you have some sort of automated system that sends messages or product to the email address associated with your business? Plot of new and different examples of my delivery system looks like you now have a better idea of how to describe the delivery system in your business. So let's take a look at my delivery system. Because I sell digital products, email is our primary method of delivery. When someone checks out and purchases one of the digital products, they receive an email that is sent automatically through our emailing marketing system. The first option is that they may have this process completely automated. They may ship their jewelry to a fulfillment company that fulfills individual orders for people to purchase on Etsy. However, the majority of smaller Etsy sellers will have a much more manual process in which an order comes in and they receive notifications that there is a new order. They will then package their product into a mailing package and ship it to the customer, produce additional products and distribute them to additional customers, and thus a greater volume of orders coming in. On the other hand, are overly complex and you may find this fifth section quite tedious. And my question for you right now is, what can you do to symbolize them to make your business easier to run and more efficient? Now this will also enable you to survive and gain even more customers. Business plan. Is it necessary to make this a goal at all? What use does it serve if clarifying your business objective provides you with a sense of direction to pursue a new objective? You may have heard the expression, if you don't know where you're going, you're unlikely to make it there, which is true in business and in life general. You must understand the direction in which you want to take your business or risk ending up somewhere you don't want to be. Therefore, by setting this aim or goal, even if you do not achieve it, you will be heading in the correct path and you will be consciously creating something that is truly in accordance with what you want in life. Additionally, by setting these goals, you're not only hearing the phrase, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you will land among the stars. Which is true in business when you set goals for yourself, even if the goal you set is not yet set because you will be working much harder to reach that lofty goal. Naturally, that improbable ambition, I'm all for having realistic goals that you believe you can accomplish. But at the same time, I want you to be a little bit pursuer so that you're pushing yourself and aiming for something truly worthwhile. Now, you are your own boss and have complete control over how hard you want to push yourself and what you want to accomplish, and writing down these goals is the ideal manner and location to do it. One final point before we get into the next part of business planning in selling, and this is critical for those of you haven't earned any money or started your business yet, or who have started your business but haven't earned any money yet. it is extremely impossible to make reliable projections. Even for a year or 5 years in the future, without any data to work with, you'll be utterly obfuscating and your aims will be grounded in reality. So here's what I want you to do instead. Rather than that, I want you to concentrate on making your first 10 sales as rapidly as possible, based on everything else in your company plan. Therefore, set aside 1-year goals and 5-year goals. Simply create your first 10 sales target as quickly as possible. After that, you'll have data. That will enable you to complex the 6 components of the plan and turn them into accurate realities based on the 1-year or 5-year goals that are significantly more relevant and beneficial. 1-year goal. What is your 1-year goal? In this section, we're going to discuss about the revenue, profit goal, sales goal, impact goals, and lastly, development. Revenue. To begin with your 1-year goals, you're going to establish a revenue target. What is revenue? Revenue is the total amount of money that your business earns. In the coming year, how much money would you like to earn in your business? This is different than profit. Revenue is the total amount of money earned. Their rule for establishing revenue targets is the increasing between 1.1 multiplied by increased by the 10% and 1.1 multiplied or increasing by 10% and double. So in other words, you're compared to if you earn $100,000 last year, a sensible objective for this year coming year would be $110,000 up to $200,000 presently. Now, though you may be able to do more or perhaps even the lower end of that goal may appear to you be ambitious or perhaps even lower into that goal or may seem excessively ambitious to you, it all depends on your personality, your situation, your specific business, but I recommend setting a goal somewhere in that range. If you're in a difficult to grow industry or haven't seen much growth in the last few years, you may want to set a more conservative goal. On the other hand, if your business is young and growing rapidly, you may want to set the more aggressive goal. Profit goal. The following year's goal is profit. Profit is what remains after expenses are deducted from revenue. In other words, revenue is what remains after expenses are deducted from revenue. Profit equivalates to revenue minus expenses. Thus, the first question you should answer is how much profit you made last year, and normally, we prefer to conceive of profit in percentage terms. So how much of your revenue did you retain as a profit? For instance, if you grew by $100,000 last year, what proportion of your revenue did you retain as a profit? If you earn $100,000 in revenue and earn $60,000 in profit after paying $40,000 in expenses, then you have a 60% profit margin and 40% expenses of your total revenue. Once you do the math to determine your profit margin last year, you have the data you need to set an intelligent, reasonable goal for your profit margin. Now, it is critical to understand that it is possible to increase both revenue and product margins simultaneously. Typically, if you set a more aggressive revenue goal, such as doubling revenue in the next year, you'll want to achieve your profit goal simply by maintaining your current margin. Whereas if you set a much more conservative revenue goal, such as increasing revenue by 10%, you'll want to achieve your profit goal by maintaining your current margin. So thus, in this instance, you may attempt to reduce your expenses from 40% to 30% of total revenue. Now, it's more difficult to modify your profit margins by significant proportion. Normally, expanding your profit margin by approximately 5% is more prudent. Attempting to increase your profit margin by 20% is considered extremely aggressive and also extremely ambitious. Setting a modest objective for resolving profit margin issues is prudent. 30 to 50% will be an extremely aggressive and ambitious goal. So in order to determine what your profit margin goals should be for the coming year, you should first consider the revenue goal you've already established and then try to balance it out with an opposite profit margin goal. For example, if you stated an extremely aggressive and ambitious revenue goal, you might attempt to maintain the profit margin. If you stated an extremely conservative revenue goal growth, you might attempt to increase the profit margin. Sales goal. The next goal you'll want to set is sales goal. In order to do that, you'll need to determine how many sales you need to make in order to meet your revenue goal. Now, the majority of you who are watching this course will be selling multiple products, and in that case, you'll need to determine how many sales you want to of each product, because when you sell multiple products, there are numerous ways to meet the same revenue goal. For instance, if you're attempting to earn $5,000, you may sell 5 units of the $1,000 product and 0 units of the $100 product, or you could sell 2 units of the $1,000 product and then 30 units of the $100 product. However, you also have the decision-making factor in that you may choose which product to sell, and I would recommend that you do so based on your previous year's number and extrapolating how many additional sales you can make from each of these products, but also on what you truly desire in terms of your personal goal. Perhaps some of these products require significantly more time, energy, and attention, while others are much more hands-on. Of course, the decision is entirely up to you, and thus truly comes down to the fact that it is not a decision that can be made by simply looking for an answer somewhere. You must decide what you truly want. Impact goals. Following that, we'll discuss the objective of impact. So what are the implications? Essentially, while you run your business and sell these things, your business will have an effect on the world. You will be altering the lives of your clients in specific ways. You may be affecting global change. You are almost certainly altering your own circumstances as well. So apart from obvious cash earned by sales, what impact do you hope to have on the world by operating your firm and selling your products? Therefore, allow me to provide you with several examples of the various forms of effect you should and you could explore. To begin, you could be attempting to improve your customers' lives. How you touch their lives can be quantified by either quantifying the number of consumers impacted on this manner or by substantiating the impact on the individual's lives. Another possible effect of your business is to alter the course of human history. Perhaps you have a job that requires you to write about a social injustice. While you may not be able to remove poverty entirely, you may be able to make a substantial dent in one part of a society that you are passionate about. And finally, you want to make a change in your own life. You may be striving to improve your financial situation, to be able to relocate to a different house or city, or to give yourself more free time away from your business. As you consider what you want your impact goal to be for the coming year, take a look back over the previous years and consider the impact you've had on others, on the planet during that time period. Do you want to have the same impact and type this on a larger scale in the coming year, or do you want a different impact? Development. Your final one-year aim is development. Your development refers to the direction you wish to take your business in the coming year. Your business will not look exactly the same a year from now, and you probably don't want it to. And thus, how do you wish to see your firm evolve over the next 12 months? Here are a few different directions you could take your business in the coming year. Perhaps you wish for your team to expand or evolve in some way. Perhaps you look to recruit your very first helper. How would you like to see your role evolve? Perhaps you're currently doing everything yourself, but there are some jobs you'd like to delegate. Perhaps you are currently working a large number of hours and wish to work less. Perhaps you're currently engaged in a lot of content development, but you wish to shift your focus to tomorrow's strategy role. Perhaps you are now the sole person serving clients, but you are bringing someone along who could serve customers as well. These are all valid points to consider as you consider how to grow your business, and they may also be a system you wish to alter or develop. Perhaps you wish to see your team in a new light, or perhaps you wish to come see it in a new light. What do you envision your business looking like a year from now on? When it comes to development, anything is possible. Once you've completed your 1-year goal, it's time to move on to your 5 years goal. You may find that the procedures for determining the different goals to establish for 5 years are identical to those for 1 year. You simply have to be setting someone else's objectives higher. And of course, you're probably wondering how much larger the goals should be. 5 years goal. Allow me to share some general guidelines with you. Revenue targets are the first objective here. And for your revenue goal, I recommend setting it between 2 and 10 times your current revenue. For example, if you earned $100,000 last year, I recommend setting a 5-year goal of earning $200,000 per year or up to $1 million per year. Clearly, the lower end of that 2 times number would be much more conservative, moderate, and easy to achieve goal, while the higher end of that 10 times number will make you feel much more ambitious and motivated. It's not just about your personal preferences for the industry in which your business operates. It's also about the business model you use, because some industries have more challenges and require a high level of inventory, which can make it more difficult to grow your revenue year over year than if you're in a low competition industry with a simple business model. Your profit 5 years goal. The next up, profit margins goal. So if you might be more ambitious with your revenue goals, and you might strive just to hold your profit margin stable for the next 5 years. Whereas on the other hand, if you don't expect your revenue on that much, then you could be more ambitious with your profit margin goals. With your profit margin here, I would recommend that you hope to possibly cut your expenses to half, although that is a very ambitious goal. If you are currently spending 60% of your revenue on various expenses, you might be able to cut your expenses down to only 30% at the total revenue. However, it definitely depends on a specific type of a business plan you run. If you are running a business with a very high cost for the products during high expenses, then that might not be possible. That would be the most ambitious goal I would set for the next 5 years. Sales, impact, development. Your 5-year goals. These are the last 3 goals that you're going to set. I'm not going to magnify it by a factor of magnitude. Instead, you're going to be able to think about how it affects your sales targets. For example, you may have split our sales into several smaller units, and over the next year, you may want to reduce it just to a couple. However, over the next 5 years, you may completely alter how your sales are generated and which 2 products generate revenue. Therefore, the sky is the limit here, and you cannot plan for anything to change over the next 5 years. Identical to the terms impact and development, perhaps you are currently having an impact on the world through taxation in one way, but wish to have an impact on the world in a completely different way 5 years from now. Or perhaps you wish to have an impact on the world through taxation in the same way, but on a larger scale of your magnitude. And finally, for development, there are several strategies to radically transform your business. Over the next 5 years, more than anything, I want to encourage you to think outside the box and not be constrained by anything. Feel free to set wild, crazy goals that you don't even think are possible, because if you achieve them, you will affect far more changes in your company, create far more results, and have far greater impact on the world than you could do much more conservatively. And that sums up our course on Business Planning Deep Dive. I hope you learned a lot of things about business planning, and I hope to hear from you 5 years from now or even a year from now. If you have any further clarifications or questions, feel free to message me on Skype, on my email, or on my phone number. Once again, thank you for listening.